Hi guys. I can't say good morning like I'm used to. It's 12 o'clock. Hi Crystal. Hello, hello Buttercup. Hi, hi. Good morning Buttercup and Jess and Shani. Good morning. Hey Lori. I enjoy your scopes very much. As a matter of fact, I've got my chocolate and coffee extract brewing. Good morning from Baltimore. You're about an hour and a half from me. I'm gonna flip this around. Hi guys. Good morning. I decided to wait to start baking because I was thinking about this. Hi. Hey guys, if those of you are here, hey lady. Hi Nancy in Oklahoma. Morning cupcake lady. Oh, thanks, Lori. That means a lot. Hi, my baking shop. Hi, Elisa. I'm fine. I'm great, actually. I have a very light week, which is nice, and I'm doing a girls' weekend at the beach, so I'm very excited because it's kind of the last hurrah here in Pennsylvania. So, hi, Dallas. Those of you who are in here, if you can go ahead and share, that would be great. Hey, Jess. No cake fair for me, no. Nope. But I am going to Cake Fest in Louisiana. I booked everything but my airfare because airfare is ridiculous. So I'm really excited about that. Did you sign up for your classes for Cake Fest? There's some amazing people, and there's classes for 4 days, even though the fair is only 2. Thank you, guys. So as promised yesterday, and for those of you who were here yesterday, if anybody asks questions, oh, you should. It's Cake Fest. It's on Facebook. It's Cake Fest Freak Fest. I don't know. I wish I went last year. I think next year I'm going to go to Orlando because there's so many great people down there. Oh, you missed yesterday? Well, it's on catch.me. It was a hour-long scope about, I do a Wednesday morning coffee chat at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time about issues affecting home bakers, what you need to know, how you should run business. I've been in business for 12 years as a home-based baker, and so I was around before Facebook and YouTube and all that other stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes, Beauty, if you exit out and come back in, because I have that problem too when I watch people. So, right, business for 12 years, learned the hard way. Lori, I'm sure you're in the same boat I am. Before, of course, we had, hey, Artisan. Of course, we had the internet, but we didn't have YouTube. We had to go take classes with people. We had to do a lot of research to run our businesses and learned lessons the hard way. Chili, welcome. This scope will definitely have a lot to do with you, Chili. It has a lot to do with anybody who bakes from home and sells to customers. And it's not just people like me who do, oh, great. Thanks, Paint Sprinkle. Manchester, England, that's great, Cakealicious. Very good. Right, exactly. So we put a lot of us old folks have put a lot of work into what we do. We've learned lessons the hard way. And I know some of you are new, but some of you have been around. And today we're going to talk about contracts, but every Wednesday I'm going to touch on topics. Like yesterday I touched on, hi, first timer, hey, cookie occasions. South Florida, you're new. Are you going to Cake Fair in Orlando? It's a hot place to be this weekend. There's like everybody's there. Almost everybody's there. So yesterday we talked about advertising. Not today, but today's about contracts. My Wednesday morning chat is about stuff like websites and stuff like that. But the important thing about my scopes, and I think those of you who have watched already, is you got to do your own work. I'm not going to give you the answers to everything. If you have questions, I can give you answers, but I'm not going to get your specifics. Hey, Arden, thank you. I'm hoping I can help people. There's so many amazing decorators out there that do their thing with their tutorials and stuff. And my strength is scratch baking because I'm self-taught. And my strength is the business of being a home baker, how to stay safe, how to be safe, and all of that. And that's what we're going to talk about today is contracts. Yes, it is the only way to learn it well, Buttercup, but you'd be amazed at how many, like I'm in the groups, Cake Noobs and whatever, where people are just asking questions and it's obvious they never did the work. The only way to learn it is to do the work. The hours and hours and hours and years of research before Facebook and Outlook, not Outlook, Facebook and YouTube, the amount of money we've had to spend on teachers that, now it's free on YouTube. I go on YouTube now. It's great. But, I paid a lot of money for classes. So that's what my coffee chats are about, is to pass on some knowledge. But I won't be giving you the formulas for pricing. I won't be giving you stuff, and part of that is because you need to figure it out. Part of that is I, after 12 years, hired Jay Qualls this past spring and learned all about pricing, and now I'm making money. And it cost me money. It cost me quite a bit of money. It was worth every penny. I made it back within 2 months. But I thought I knew it all. I thought I knew what I was doing. Well, I didn't. And eventually I will be doing what Jay does for home-based bakers in a few years. But now, I'm just not doing that right now. Yes, I am catch.me/Bellas_desserts. So you can catch yesterday's chat on there. So anyway, I promised today we'd talk about contracts, and hold on one second. I'm going to get my book. Sorry. So before all this kind of stuff, I a couple years into my business. Nice to meet you. Books. That's what we did in the old days. We got books. Real books. Thank you very much. I happened to find this book that I had. It's not my original book, but how to start a home-based business, I think, is fine as far as a book. But what we do is so specific because we deal with food. And if you deal with weddings, that's a whole nother ball game. Those how to start a business are fine fiscally, I guess. I don't know what else, insurance and stuff like that. But this was a book about how to start a home-based catering business. And I really didn't find a lot of information in there. I don't even know why I kept it. But it's a good place to start. You know what I mean? I remember eating sushi one day and poring over my original book, and that's where originally I got the idea for my contracts. You don't even want this book, seriously. So that's when I, did my very first contract. I got legal in, I don't remember when I got legal, but I got legal about 10 years ago. And was like, oh, contract? But I know I trust everybody. Well, no. Okay. Even if you're a home-based baker, even if you are taking money from someone and you are selling them something, you need a contract. Okay. And I'll tell you why. How long was I not legal for? Well, as most of us home bakers start out illegally, friends and, coworkers, and we start doing things like that. You're technically illegal because someone's paying you and you're charging them like nothing. But you kind of have to do that to see if there's a market for you out there. If you're good at what you do, if people like what you're baking. And once you find that out, go ahead and get legal. It's real easy. Well, it's easy in some states. Every state is different. Every township is different. You have to find out if the township will even let you run a business out of your house. Yes, we have. Actually, it's interesting because I looked the other day at Forager.com, and Pennsylvania, we are so lucky here. So Pennsylvania, we have no cap of income. We are under the Department of Agriculture, so we can bake out of our homes, but we cannot do cheesecakes and custard pies, stuff like that. And we can sell out of our homes. Every state surrounding me, every state surrounding Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, it's not even legal. It's not even legal yet in New Jersey, although I've seen many scopes of people that are doing stuff from New Jersey. Delaware and Maryland. New York, Delaware, and Maryland. You can only sell at farmers markets. You cannot deliver. You cannot sell out of your home. Yes, we know everybody does it, but it's not legal. So you can't even get, I think you need to get your kitchen certified and all of that stuff, but you are not allowed to sell out of your home. So I didn't even realize that. I didn't even realize New Jersey was illegal, meaning they don't have any cottage laws. They keep getting passed over and not passed. So we are really lucky here in Pennsylvania. So again, that's research. I mean, I did the research before Forager.com, and I had a call and I didn't get legal for years because I thought it was going to be so hard and I was going to have to build a whole new kitchen. And turns out I didn't. It actually was a lot easier for me. But there are things you can't have in Pennsylvania, and I know it's different everywhere. In Pennsylvania, you cannot own any animals. No animals, no cats, no dogs. You cannot own them, period. Your children and or babies cannot be in the kitchen while you're baking or cooking or whatever you're doing. And I think that's smart about the no pets. A lot of places have it. Oh, they just can't be in the house while you're baking. That's such bullshit because their hair is everywhere. Cats climb on the counters. It's like, I don't get that. But anyway, Wednesday morning coffee chats. That's what those are about, is all that kind of stuff. Anyway, today we are just talking about contracts. Why you need them. Why do you need a contract? Okay. You need a contract because you are selling something to people. You are selling something that could make someone sick. You are selling something that someone could be allergic to. You can, if you're doing weddings and the bride and groom split up, and you know, you're contracted to make their wedding cake. Everybody else has contracts that do weddings, the venue, the caterer, so on and so forth. So your contract it's really about saving our asses. And I realized that when I was, as I'm doing my contracts, because they change all the time as I learn new things. The contracts are all about protecting us. It's really not, it really doesn't say anything about the customer. Like, you know, you're guaranteed this, that, and the other thing. It's really about protecting us. When I did my first contract after reading that book, my contract was half a 8.5 by 11. That was before I started doing weddings. So my contract was, and I gave it to people for big orders. It's the only people I ever had sign a contract back then was for big orders. Then when I started doing weddings, I got a wedding cake contract, and that was a lot of research. And that started out as 1 full page. It is now 2 full pages. And that is because of situations I ran into that it's like, oh crap, I need to protect myself. Just recently, I think last week, someone posted in Cake Noobs that, and this was raising everybody's hackles. It makes people like us angry that they even asked this question. This girl had a contract. The contract, hey Hey, Lisa, how are you? Thanks for joining. So she had a contract, and she was asking, the bride canceled a few days before. There was a lot of running around. She'd canceled, rescheduled, this, that, and the other thing. So she canceled, and this woman was asking, should I give her a refund? And so everybody jumped on. It's like, no refund, no refund, no refund. Yeah, you remember this. So no refund. If it says it in your contract that you don't get your money back, then you have to honor your contract. Otherwise, what's the point of your contract? And here's a story, and it killed me, but I had to stick to my contract. I had a couple come in. Yes, to protect yourself. I had a couple come in for a tasting, lovely older couple, and they put down their deposit for their cake. The woman called me several months later and said, I've been diagnosed with cancer, and we are going to postpone the wedding. And she was such a lovely woman, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. And I didn't offer it back because, your contract can be your bouncer, but you have to enforce it. Just because it's on a piece of paper and they signed it, you have to enforce that contract. That's important, and that's the story I'm telling right now about the woman who was diagnosed with cancer, and your deposits, which I now call retainers, were not refundable. For a deposit for weddings or any order over $100, I require a retainer because it maxes me out as far as space, and I will turn away cake business. So, so this woman with cancer, like in my heart and in my soul, I wanted no more than to say, here, take your deposit back, and you can give it back to me when when you're ready to schedule. I mean, she had cancer. No, I didn't know her. She just came in for a tasting, and it took every fiber of my being. And then I found out she passed away, and this was killing me. Like I didn't have their address. That was another thing I didn't do, was take addresses at the time. I didn't have the address. I didn't want to call the husband to give them the money back. And that was hard, but I did it. I didn't give her retainer back. And that was about 8 years ago. And I still remember that story. And I found out she passed away from her Facebook page. So I guess it wasn't 8 years ago. It must have been about 5. Anyway, so your contract is to protect you and your family. And because if you take retainers like I do, and like you should do, a retainer is non-refundable. Non-refundable. Okay? If they cancel their wedding before they've paid their full payment and ask you for their deposit back, retainer back, no. You do not get your retainer back. I know it's always non-refundable, but people will ask you, and that's part of the contract. That's part of the contract, is that they signed. And things like retainers, things about allergies. Allergies are so huge. Yes, if you have a business and you take money for cakes, cookies, cake pops, anything that you sell, you need a contract. As I mentioned yesterday, I only had wedding contracts. See, I will transfer. If it's within 6 months, like for instance, for weddings, and they've given me a retainer, they can transfer it. If it's within a month and they've paid their final payment, nothing is refundable or transferable at that point. Nothing. But Jay's in a different boat, everybody. Jay is a big cake designer. He makes a lot of money. He employs a lot of people. He's got a lot of overhead. So when he taught me about using the word retainer, but that's, my retainer is a percentage. So a retainer is the percentage of the cake fee. It has nothing to do with delivery. It has nothing to do with my tasting, which that's going to be another topic we'll talk about. But I do charge for my tastings, and they get it off the bottom line of the cake should they book with me. But the retainer is based on the cake, not the delivery fee and not the tasting fee, bottom line of the cake. So, so about Jay, you know, he's been to my home. He sees how I run my business. He knows exactly what I'm trying to do with my business, where I'm trying to go, what I know, so on and so forth. He'll argue with me and he'll tell me, no, it's not transferable and stuff. But it's like, you know, he's got a lot more overhead than I do. I apply you mean my retainer, Buttercup? I apply my retainer to every single order. I require retainers for any order over $100. If it's under $100, I don't charge a retainer. So for instance, my least expensive cake is $60. I accept everything. I accept everything but PayPal. So, what was I saying? See, this was the ADD thing I was talking about yesterday. Birthday cake, things under $100. I don't take retainers. I really should, but I don't. And Jay would hit me over the head. PayPal, well, you know, PayPal has a lot of fees associated with it. Okay, so if you, and now I used to have a merchant service, which I just got rid of. I now use Square. Square is cheaper than PayPal. And it's a squareup.com. You can stick a reader in your phone for tastings. They can swipe their card right there, or you can manually input it, and their fees are less than PayPal. Although yesterday I had a woman whose credit card was not working on Square, and at first I thought it was because I was new, but I swiped my card today and didn't have a problem. I never got hacked with PayPal, but I have had problems with PayPal in that I'll buy a lot of stuff on PayPal, and I just had something going on where I never received the item, but because it was through PayPal, it's guaranteed. So I got my money back from PayPal. And so this woman yesterday whose card wouldn't work with Square, she, I took her through PayPal because, she was doing something from Utah for her sister. I just let her go through PayPal. It was only, you know, a couple, like less than 1% difference. No, it is illegal to charge the transaction fee. It is illegal to charge the transaction fee. What you need to do is work it into the price, but don't tell them you're charging them for the transaction fee. Yes, I just started Square this week, so I'm really excited about all of that. And I realized after yesterday I could have sent her an invoice via Square, and she could have paid it that way. But I didn't. So it's new and I'm learning. So clients have to pay you in person or over the phone. Because I'm home-based, I don't want people coming here to pay. Most people who come to pay when at pickup, like for under $100, bring cash. I do take, the chip reader, I didn't. I do take personal checks for brides that want to pay. Like for weddings and orders over $100, payment is due 1 month prior to their event. Square is cheaper, Jess. So people will send me checks, and that's why I take checks 1 month out, even credit cards 1 month out, because credit cards less time period, but checks, I get a lot of people out of state who are getting married here, so that I have out of state checks, and that 1 month gives it time for the check to clear, and if it hasn't cleared, to get returned, and enough time for that bride to get me my money before the event. Yeah, I don't want to talk about specifics about PayPal and all that kind of stuff, because, you know, not everybody has similar issues. If you've had an issue, for sure, I would, if I had an issue, I wouldn't use them anymore either. But I generally don't use PayPal. I've used merchant services. Prior to that, I just did cash and checks. So, but at tastings, well, I'm not going to tell you. Again, it's like pricing. Hold on that thought about what's on my contract. So for tastings, in regards to the Square Reader, for tastings to get their money, first of all, my tastings have to be paid in advance. So that's usually by check, because I won't take credit cards for anything under $100. It's not worth it for the fee. So that's my other thing, is I don't take payment for under $100. It's via check or cash. So, see, no. Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, tasting. So when someone's at a tasting, now I'm going to have the Square Reader, and they could just put their retainer. They could just swipe a card instead of, because it's a lot of money. Like my wedding last weekend was $1,100. Well, most brides or anybody else doesn't have that cash sitting around. They want to use a credit card. So, have you had a problem with customer not wanting to for tasting? Oh, to pay for a tasting? Yes, all the time. I have one woman just recently. It was only going to be like a $300 order. It was for a baby shower, and she was literally, my tasting is $25. Okay. And the reason why I started charging for tastings, and again, I want to do this on a Wednesday. But the reasons why I charge for a tasting is because I used to have no-shows when I didn't charge for tastings. People would schedule and not show up. Well, as a home baker, you got to bake for that tasting. And I give people the choice of 3 different cakes, not just what I have in the freezer. They get to choose what cakes they want. Someone like Jay, and bigger places have tasting plates set up based on what their bakery is baking, you know, usually vanilla, chocolate, whatever. But a big part of my business and what I'm known for in the area is allergen-free cakes. So, well, it's not just the ingredients. There are still people, like Jay doesn't charge for tastings. If he does the tasting, I believe he charges, but otherwise he doesn't charge for the tastings. But for home-based baker, for me, it's not about the cost of ingredients. It's about my time that I got to bake for that stuff ahead of time. So ever since I started charging and people have paid, I have never had a no-show. Never had a no-show. So, but the whole thing about, you know, paying for tastings, and this woman recently, and I'll get back to that story, before people hem and haw, what, I got to pay for the tasting? The guy down the street doesn't, you know. Well, the guy down the street, I found out from one of my brides who ended up booking with me, gives them like a cake in a box and says, bye-bye. No consultation, no nothing. They get to pick out of a book. Well, that's not who I am. I don't care about, because I charge for my tastings, I don't care how big a cake they want. I'm still getting paid to do the tasting. When people like who only want like cupcakes, or I get so many people, I want to throw a sweet 16 for my daughter and she wants to come and talk to you and design the cake and stuff, and it's like, can we do that? And I was like, my tastings are $25, because at that point it's my time. My tastings are $25, and they're like, oh, well, can we send you pictures over the internet? It's like, yes, makes my life easier and they don't have to pay. I prefer that for those, anything but weddings. I prefer that, but I'm happy to do a tasting. But I limit those tasting to, no, $25 total. But I ask people not to bring more than a total of 4 people, because no work gets done. And if people are bringing more people, they get the tasting, it consists of a cupcake. Okay. I am not, because you're inviting 4 people, you split that cupcake 4 ways. I'm not baking for 4 people. And that's why I don't do it per person, because I don't want to bake for 4 people. Well, 3 is a good number, but a lot of times I find that it's like parents or the mother of each. So I just limit it at 4. And I started doing that. Again, lesson learned. Someone brought 7 people. First of all, I didn't even have space for 7 people, but they brought like everybody they knew, and they all had to split 1 cupcake. And it took an hour and a half, because when you have that many people, everybody's like putting in their 2 cents and whatever. Even I had where both sets of parents came, even though I said, only 4 and they brought both sets of parents. It was still so long because they discuss amongst themselves. I can't stand it. So I really limit it, and I explain it that way, that, you know, you want to get the work done. You could take your leftovers home if you want. So I really limit tastings. But again, that's another scope. I don't want to talk about tastings anymore. Okay, I'm just here to talk about contracts because I do have to get to baking. I'm going to do a tasting scope about how I set it up. I do it in my dining room. But I set it up, you know, a certain way so it looks professional. Okay, contracts. So I explained, does anybody have questions as to when and why you should have a contract? Oh, let me just say, so I only used to do contracts for wedding cakes and very large orders, but I now, starting this spring, I have every single customer, including my repeat customers, sign a one-time contract. Hold on, Lisa. So I have everybody sign a one-time contract that lays out things like what happens if there's a bounce check, what happens if you don't like the cake, so on and so forth. Oh, yes. When I do the, Lisa, I am going to do, every Wednesday morning, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I am going to do, I do a home-based bakery, oh good, home-based bakery, coffee chat, and I want to cover, I have a whole page of issues to discuss. Tastings is one of them, and I'm going to actually show you my setup. And another thing I want to do, I want to show you my kitchen setup. That's because I have to keep everything separate, and I just want to show you my setup because I think a lot of people, for organizational things, and Kara just released on Craftsy a great class. And she touches up on great things to have if you're a home-based baker. I'm going to show you what I have just as an example, and it really works well for me. So, and it depends on the size of your house and all of that. So that's what I have coming up, you know, in those kind of chats. And then feel free to message me on Facebook at Bella's Desserts, or email me at Lauren, you don't talk too much, Lisa. Or email me at lauren@bellasdesserts.com for topics that you would like to discuss on Wednesday mornings. Today I'm throwing in because contracts came up. Okay, so contracts like pricing. Pricing, no one's going to give it to you for free. I paid a lot of money to figure out how to do my pricing, and my contracts I didn't pay money for, but I've been in business 12 years and I did them myself, and it was a lot of trial by error and adding things. Hi, saucy sister. Oh, I love that. So what my offer is for you, and it's a one-time 24-hour offer. I will delete this Periscope after 24 hours. I mean, I will delete this Periscope. It will not be catched, whatever. It will be catched and it will be deleted after 24 hours because I am making you an offer that I certainly understand if you don't do it, but I don't feel that I can give away my contracts for free because of the number of hours and number of years of experience that it took to put them together. So my deal for you is, this is my terms of agreement. Don't screenshot it because I thought about that. I can't screenshot on Android, but I know you guys can screenshot it. So I changed the font to Wingding. Okay, so basically my terms of agreement, and that's for anybody that does cookies, cake pops, anything you're doing regarding cake out of your home. So this is my one-page contract that I have everybody sign. It's a one-time contract. Like my repeat customers don't have to sign it every time they come. I keep a note in my software program that they've signed the contract, but everybody signs this contract. I email it to them. I have copies here for when they pick up to make sure they sign it. Okay. This is going to protect you from a lot. Basically, it protects me from anything. Okay. Including, I'll just tell you the subjects: payments, deposits, alteration to orders, cancellation of order, transportation, allergens, if you are unsatisfied. That is what is in this contract. okay? Which is for anybody that is baking and selling out of their home. There's a space at the bottom for them to print their name, their signature, and the date they signed, okay? So that's first contract. Second contract, my wedding terms of agreement, 2 pages. It covers everything having to do with just any order. This is my wedding terms of agreement. Why is it 2 pages? Because weddings are a whole different ballgame, people. Whole different ballgame. You are dealing with crazy people, okay? You're dealing with mothers and fathers. You are dealing with brides who change their mind every other day, especially if you book 6 months out. I had one bride every month she was changing her mind. That has to do with a lot of a whole page of my contract. Not even Bridezilla's. She was really sweet and really nice, but she was young and she just, you know, with Pinterest and everything else, it's like, oh, I like that instead. But she already paid her retainer, well, deposit at the time. So, you know, you don't have that problem with someone ordering a birthday cake, or I don't. Okay, so wedding cake terms of agreement. I'll tell you what's on here, okay? Tastings, payments, retainers, alteration to orders, cancellation of orders, other cakes or desserts. Why is that important? Because I have had people that, and this actually, I got this from someone else's contract about 5 years ago. You are providing a delicious and gorgeous cake, I hope. You know, a lot of people order dummy cakes. And then they'll go get sheet cakes from Walmart because they can't afford a sheet cake. You know, they can't afford to pay your serving price. So they'll order dummy cakes, which I now charge the exact same amount as my cake. But in the past, they would order a small cake because they're more expensive and then have sheet cakes in the back. Okay. So imagine you're at an event and you're seeing this gorgeous cake, right? But they serve you a cake from Walmart and it tastes disgusting. And you're like, oh, that cake is gorgeous, but oh my God, that is the most disgusting cake I've ever had. I had nothing to do with those sheet cakes. I will make sheet cakes for you to have. If you want to order a small cake, because a small wedding cake, I am totally fine with selling you sheet cakes. Okay, I am totally fine with selling, and I do that all the time. I did a wedding where the aunt made the wedding cake and the mother called me the week before freaking out because it's like, oh my gosh, how are we going to feed everybody? So she ordered sheet cakes from me. My sheet cakes aren't as cheap as Walmart, but they are delicious. And the woman ordered 5 half sheet cakes and she couldn't have been happier. So I have no problem doing that. What my problem is when other people provide other sheet cakes or cupcakes that Aunt Matilda wanted to bake. Hell no, because there's not a sign in front of my cake saying, you know, made by Bella's Dessert. So people don't know, brides aren't going to tell people. So there's a clause in my contract that says you cannot serve any other desserts without my prior knowledge. Why I say my prior knowledge is because there are a lot, and it's different in every area. Some areas, there's a Polish community. Some area, there is a Italian community. Around here, it's happened to me in Italian weddings where I don't make cannoli, and I don't make cream puffs, and I don't make those kind of desserts. So if they say to me, can we provide those things? Because those are important at those weddings. It's a tradition and so on and so forth. As long as they've told me and I don't make those items, no problem. But they have to tell me, and that's what it says in the contract. If I get to that wedding site and I see other pies, because I make pies, if I see mini desserts, because I make mini desserts, if I see cupcakes that I didn't make, I will not deliver that cake. I will not deliver my wedding cake because they signed my contract, okay? If you guys want to go ahead and share this, because again, I am going to delete this in 24 hours and it will no longer be available. Okay, so other cakes. Surcharges. Surcharges are about people that book way in advance and what happens like with gas, or, you know, remember that one month where all of a sudden the eggs were $2 more a dozen. What if they eat them themselves? I don't know what that means. So that's surcharges. Damages that occur. Fresh flowers. Such an important issue, guys. Such an important issue. Transportation, meaning if they come pick it up. Okay? And that's in my my regular contract too. I pack it for you. If you don't know how to drive, that's on you. I deliver if you're really concerned. This woman the other day who just did the wedding cake with the credit card yesterday and stuff, she's getting a 2-tier wedding cake, and the top tier is gluten-free, dairy-free, so I need to put a pillar system in, and she's getting fresh flowers. She's picking it up. I will, you know, send it on its way in 2 separate boxes, but she's got to put it together, and she's got to do all the floral arranging because she doesn't want to pay me. In my contract. In my contract. Do you ask the bride to provide the no, I have nothing to do with fresh flowers. I want nothing to do. I just tell them what they need to ask their florist for. But most brides already have a florist, so pay the fee if you want your cake to get there safe. Absolutely. Especially wedding cakes. Okay, transportation. Allergens, and if you aren't satisfied. So there are some repeat things, but there's a lot of stuff here that is not in my regular terms of agreement. So here's the deal. You ready for the deal? I'm going to hold up a piece of paper and you can screenshot it. The deal is for the 1-page regular terms of agreement. What do you do when a client wants you to deliver last minute? By last minute, you mean like the day before they tell me they want me to deliver it? If it's the day before when they were scheduled to pick it up. If they call me the day before and said, oh my gosh, so much has happened, can you deliver? And I will say, if I'm available. It's only if I'm available. If I'm available, I'll say, sure, the delivery fee is X amount of dollars and you have to give it to me in cash when I get there. If I'm available, why not, right? It's never happened to me. But that's how I would handle that. If they called me that day, no. You have to think ahead of time, people. I mean, if you're throwing big parties or weddings or whatever, you know, throw someone in a car to come, well, not even a wedding. No one's going to come pick up their own wedding cake. But if they have an order, they should have thought ahead, or if something happens, there's someone that can come pick it up. So I think that's why, you know, it's never happened to me. So that should answer that question. Any more questions before I get to this? The lady that's setting up your cake herself, what if she doesn't do it right and it looks bad? Well, that's on her. I'm not taking a picture of that cake. I'll take a picture of it before it leaves my house, assembled and put together, because I like to have a picture. And that's another thing you should do. I'm getting ready to go to the, oh my God, I'm so excited for you. That's great. Oh, a sugar craft show in Orlando, and I wanted me to bring it to her last minute. Kim, if you have the time to do it, fine. If you don't, then say no. Oh, the Satin Eye show. That's your call, but you better charge her for that. You don't do that for free. I'm sorry. No. Well, if you don't have the time, then say no. If she didn't ask, good, because she's asking you last minute, which basically she's asking you for a favor. If you have the time, do it and upcharge the delivery fee, like a rush fee, like you should do for cakes anyway. But if you don't have the time, don't kill yourself and don't fret about it. Let's just hope, I hope, Kim, that she paid for that cake already. Because if she didn't pay ahead for that cake and she's not going to pick it up, you're screwed. Okay, so anyway, any more questions about contracts before I get to the deal? She paid in full, then she's got to come get it. You don't have the time. Sorry, last minute. Good for you, Kim. Stick to your guns. That's on her. On her. All right, I'm going to get to the deal. Okay, so for my 1-page terms of agreement over the things we talked about, this 24-hour offer, this is for, you mentioned pictures. Oh, right. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Whenever you deliver to an event like a wedding, okay, always take a picture. Good morning, Callie. Always take a picture before you leave, okay? That has to do with A, your portfolio, B, God forbid, by the time they eat it or serve it or someone bumps into the table and something happens, they will blame you. You delivered me a cake, it fell over, you know, and blah, 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 blah. She takes a picture and someone signed for it. I don't have anybody sign for it. I just take a picture and that's good enough for me. Because my picture is time-stamped and all of that stuff. So, that's why I take pictures, because I could say, here's the picture, here's where I took it. It's not my responsibility. That is also in the contract. It's not your responsibility once it's done. Everything's done or taken from your house, not your responsibility. I take a picture for if someone's picking up, I take a picture here. A lot of it is for my portfolio. That's something Jay taught me about lighting and taking pictures and all of that kind of stuff. I want it for my portfolio, especially if it's a great cake. I will do the lighting and take pictures anyway. If it's a really simple cake, you're right. I should take a picture of everything that leaves here, but I don't take a picture of every little thing. Okay, so the deal. Stop asking questions so I can tell you the deal. So my one-page terms of agreement, I will, this will be in digital format. It's in Word format. So you can edit it. It will belong to you. You can edit it. On mine, have my logo on the top. You need to put your logo, the name of your business, and all of your information on top of this, okay? But you can reword stuff, you can do whatever, but the hard part is done, meaning the things that need to get done on a contract are already done for you. I am offering that at $15 for my one-page contract, okay? My two-page wedding term contract, I'll tell you how this is all gonna work. My two-page wedding page contract, same thing. Okay, you will get a Word document that you can edit, which is good because there might be things that you've experienced that you want to add on to your contract, or there might be some things you don't do that you can take out of here, but it's totally editable. I'm sending you a Word document. You could change the font, but you will also need to put all your contact information on here. Well, that's the point, Art and Cake, is that this took me years, and if Lori's still here, it takes you years, and it takes years of trial and error and learning things the hard way. So that's why this is such a great thing. People always ask, oh, can I have your contract? No. Jay, I sent him my contracts. He approved them. But if I wanted him to redo my contracts or supply me with contracts, it would have cost me a lot more than what I'm offering this for. My wedding terms of agreement is $50. I know it sounds like a lot, but if it's signed, sealed, and delivered, all you got to say is, sorry, you signed the contract. No argument. Nothing. No argument. So $50 for the wedding terms of agreement. $15 for everything else. You can get both for $60. Word documents, both. That saves you $5. If you want me to put your logo and all your contact information and all of that stuff, the deal is, this is only for the 24 hours, okay? Payment must be received. I must receive everything, and I will send it to you as soon as I receive your payment. If you want me to put your logo on and your contact information and make it look, you know, say for instance you're new and you want it to look professional and all of that, I'm sending it to you in Times New Roman font. But if you want me to put your logo on, you can. I am doing both for $75. Did you have a contract developed before you became legal? No. I did not have a contract before I became legal. The contracts came about because I started reading a book that said you should have a contract. And then it's grown over the years due to lessons learned, things I've seen. I'm sorry, can you repeat the deal? Lost connection. Okay, the deal is, and I'm going to post it up. I'll do that right now. You could do a screenshot. Okay. just the 1-page terms of agreement. 1-page terms of agreement is $15. 2-page wedding terms of agreement, $60. Oh, no, $50, sorry. Both for $60. If you want me to deal with your logo and all of that stuff, both for $75, just because that's, you know, at least half hour's worth of work for me. And you're going to pay via PayPal, $75 for all with logo. Okay, so you're going to pay via PayPal, and if you want to screenshot it or write this down, this is my email address, Lauren M. Cortese at bellasdesserts.com. I'm sorry, Lauren M. Cortese